So are y'all having a little bit of trouble trying to get the best quality out of your microphone, your Shure SM7B, or this would actually even work with any dynamic microphone, whether it's the Shure MV7X, the Plus, any Amazon XLR or USB mic, as long as it has software that it's going into, that you have controls over the equalization, a gate, a compressor, a de-esser, etc. We're going to dive in here. I'm going to show you the settings that I use to get this quality of sound off of my Shure SM7B with the GoXLR. So stick with me. So whether you're using a GoXLR or the SteelSeries Sonar or Elgato's Wavelink, if you have a microphone into those applications and they have access to effects like a compressor, a gate, a de-esser, then you're going to get the same settings that I'm going to show you here, but I'm specifically covering the Shure SM7B with the GoXLR. But like I said, this will work over a different multitude of microphones as well as programs. Let's go ahead and get into this. The best way to see your audio level is to have an audio mixer. As you can see up here in the right side of my screen, the best way to get an audio mixer is to have OBS already downloaded on your PC. If you don't have OBS downloaded, just Google OBS, download the latest version, and then this is how you'll get the audio mixer out here on your desktop so you can use it. Once you get OBS installed, make sure you have your microphone set up within OBS. It should auto detect it, but go ahead and just go in, make sure you have it. And this is how you'll get it pulled out of OBS, where you can lay it next to your GoXLR app while you're making changes. Once you have OBS opened up, it's obviously not going to look like this. Yours will be set up completely different, but you'll see the audio mixer right down here. What you'll do is just click on this corner right here, this window. It'll pull it out for you. Minimize the actual OBS program, move it out of the way down at the bottom, or you can drag it to a second monitor if you have a second monitor, and you'll have your mixer that you can visually see for your microphone. So the SM7B does require a lot more gain for it to power itself. If you're running a cloud lifter, you'll want to actually click on the condenser 48 volts because of the cloud lifter. If you're not running a cloud lifter, just click on dynamic. But the thing is, when you're going to be running a compressor as well as equalization and everything else, you're still going to be clipping, and you don't want to clip. You don't want to distort your microphone. So I like to set my gain around 52 decibels with the dynamic section clicked. If you are running a cloud lifter, make sure that you do click on the condenser. But if not, click on dynamic, set your gain to 52, and that's a good starting point. Let's go ahead and get into the gate. And this is where we need to see our audio mixer. On your gate, you want to see how much room noise that you have in your background. So what you need to do is just turn that completely off. And you can see that I am roughly between 55 and 50, negative 55 and 50 decibels with a room noise. So if we bring this up to around 50 decibels, you're going to see that the room noise has gone. I like to actually set mine around 52. And there we go. So set it around 52. Make sure your attenuation is set to around 70%. If you have it at 100, that means it's like a light switch. When you stop talking, it shuts off. When you start talking, it opens up, and it can just sound animated. You don't want that. You want it to sound more natural. So the lower your attenuation, the more slope there is for your gate to open and close. On the attack, you want it to be a fast attack, so that way when you start talking, it automatically will open up. And then have your release set to around 200 milliseconds, so it has more of a slow release before it closes. Let's get into equalization over here. Now, like I said, everybody has a different voice, different bass in your voice, different treble in your voice, whether you're male, female, it doesn't matter. This will be a great starting point. And one thing you always want to do when you're listening to your audio is click on your routing and make sure that you have microphone enabled right here so you can hear yourself while you're making changes within the app. 30 hertz is going to be your low end bass. This will be like rumbling in the background, maybe some vibrations. I always like to take this to -3. 63 hertz, I like to jump it up to about +3 or +3 decibels on the 63 hertz. 125 hertz, I like to go up to another +3. This will just bring out more bass and more fill in your voice. 250 hertz, this is where there's a lot more boxiness. You want to remove about -2 decibels right here. 500 hertz, which is 0.5. Also, that's where you get some boxiness. You want to go ahead and -2. 1000 kilohertz, 2000 kilohertz, just leave at 0. That's going to be your more clarity. The SM7B. It is a very dark microphone, and by dark I mean that there's not a lot of high end to it. There's more low end to it, and on the back of the microphone there is switches. You want to make sure those switches are set to flat. Do not change those at all. There's no need to, especially if you're running a software where you can change the EQ anyway. You do not need to touch those. But on 4000 kilohertz, I like to jump up to +2 +2 decibels on 4000 for a little more clarity. 8000 for the sibilance, +3, and then the very high end for the sheen that you want, a +4 on the decibels. And that right there is a good starting point. You can make changes throughout whenever you listen back. If you make a video recording or an audio recording, just make sure you listen back. Anything that you hear that you don't like, just go in and tweak those numbers. If it's too sharp in the high end, you can go and cut some of that down just to try to tame it. Now, as far as the compression goes, this is the one area where we're going to bring back up our gain since we set the microphone at 52 decibels. And we're going to bring it up here in compression, so we're not clipping after the fact if we was to be at 63 decibels on your microphone gain. I like to go to a -25 decibels on the threshold. This is how hard it's going to grab your vocals and pull it down if you're getting too loud. So I like the ratio at 5.6 to 1. It's a very good slope for podcasting and content creation. Really quick attack. I like to run 2 milliseconds. The faster attack you have, the faster it can grab your vocal and pull it down if you get loud. Release is 25 milliseconds. You do want a slower release. Just like your gate, you want it to naturally kind of just dissipate, not just shut off. And your makeup gain, this is where you're going to make up the gain. 10 to 12 is a good starting point. I like 12. That's what a compressor does. When you're low, it'll make you sound loud. And when you're loud, it'll make you sound low. And it keeps it even. So that way you're not having to worry about if you yell at somebody saying Call of Duty, you're not going to hurt somebody's ears because the compressor grabbed your vocal, pulled it down. That's what you want. And then the DeEsser. This is the high end for your S's and your T's. I like to run around 25. If you go at 100, you can tell it almost makes you sound unnatural. It could almost make you sound like you have a lisp, and you don't want that. So I like to start around 25 on the DeEsser and leave it there. Now when we're speaking, we're normally sitting here. I have my fader all the way maxed out on my microphone, and I'm hitting around -50. Well, I'm hitting around -11 to -12 decibels on my mic mixer, and that's where you want to be. Obviously, depending on your voice, depending on how you sound, if you're a male or female, you'll want to make some changes into your equalizer because you want it to sound great to your voice. But I hope this helped. I hope it gave you some kind of a starting point to get a good sound out of your dynamic microphone. This specifically is for the Shure SM7B. If you're running a Shure MV7 or another Amazon XLR microphone, anything that you plug into a GoXLR to XLR itself, you can still use these settings as a starting point because every microphone sounds different as well. But if this helped, well, let me know down in the comments if this was helpful for any of y'all that might be trying to set up a microphone for your content. If you don't want to leave a comment, hey, just leave an emoji. It helps. It's engagement. It'll help get out to a broader audience. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and then you'll know when I have new videos that come out. I do stream every day over on Kick and Twitch if you all want to come through. All my links are down in the description, so please check that out if you'd like. And as always, make sure to love yourself. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.